Hello. It's been a while since I've been live, but I wanted to go live today because I feel there are so many people around me today who are suffering in the UK, who are feeling despair or anger or frustration or anxiety, just as we go into another full lockdown, and the implications for their family and their businesses and work. And I feel a lot of people in a spin, and I think it's made even worse by it being so new in the new year. Um, there were so many people making new plans for the new year and being hopeful, and that sense of get rid of 2020 and move into 2021. Let's just forget about 2020. But of course, the change in the year doesn't make any difference to external context, and neither do we become different people just from one day to the next. So I just wanted to come in because my heart's full of compassion for people who are feeling in pain, and it's hard to see those that you care about who are hurting. So I came in with a reminder about the inspiration we can always take from nature, and I'm always inspired by trees, my forestry background, and of course the oak. And I use an acronym of oak and oak tree to remind myself how to stay grounded in times like this. So the O in oak is for ownership. And that's around focusing on what you can control and taking full ownership for that and letting go of what you can't. It's not always easy to take ownership. Sometimes it's easier to hide behind other things and blame it and say, I can't do anything about this because of all these different things. But there will always be something that you can control and that you can take ownership for. And stepping into that space stops you feeling like a victim and stops you feeling so helpless. So the O for ownership is a first step in feeling a little more grounded. And the A is for acceptance. It is how it is right now. And as being upset or angry, we're not wrong to feel the way that we do. But those emotions may not be helping us. It's actually not going to change anything. All that anger and upset, it's just impacting on us and isn't changing the circumstances that we're in. And so in that place of acceptance, it doesn't mean to say we give up, but it means that we let go of a fantasy. So much of what we are holding on to is our imaginings of a different future, imaginings of how things should be or ought to be or how we want them to be. And it's actually a fantasy. It's stories that we make up. It's our imaginings that feel so hard to let go of. But we're just creating these stories with our thoughts. And we can create other stories. Easy to say, not always easy to do. But when we're realizing how much we're making up, how much we make stories, and then it can become a little easier just to accept a reality in the moment. And the K in the OAK acronym is for kindness. And primarily self-kindness, self-compassion. We will beat ourselves up and not like how we are or who we are or how we're dealing with things. But that's a very harsh environment for us to be in. And it's hard for us to overcome these things when we're being so cruel to ourselves, cruel in a way we'd rarely be cruel to somebody else. And the Ks also remind us to be kind to other people too. It's hard to know what they're going through, what their anxieties are. We can't be in their shoes, but we can stay kind and understanding and tolerant of other people as they wrestle. Making other people feel wrong is never going to be a way to find a way forward. So that's the OAK: ownership, acceptance, kindness. And even speaking about it, I notice I feel a little bit more grounded. And oak's a great analogy. They are deeply rooted, they're very grounded, they're able to withstand the storm. They have this calm presence about them. They're strong, but they're still flexible. And they're able to support others because they're so rooted. And there's something around in nature, there's an acceptance of cycles that pass, that the storm will pass, that this too shall pass and come round again, which helps us feel a little bit more optimistic, knowing that what we're facing will move on to something else. I can sometimes extend my acronym of oak to oak tree. And the T in the tree is for truth. This comes back to realizing what is actual fact and what we're making up. Because we are wired to make these assumptions and stories up. So we take a set of data and then spin stories around that data. And we can always spin stories in a different way. If we take things that are there and realize how we're joining the dots, there's always another path between the two dots. So making sure that we're telling ourselves things that are true and not just beliefs or stories, not just things that we're making up. We may feel that they are true, but actual fact we can't know them for certain. The R in the tree is for respect. Sometimes when it's hard to like ourselves, then an easier first step is to try and respect ourselves, to treat ourselves with respect, to treat our bodies with respect, to have healthy boundaries, to treat other people with respect. In the absence of being able to feel full compassion or kindness, then at least we can try and respect for ourselves, respect for others. The first E in tree is energy. This is about how we manage not our time, but our energy. We all have the same amount of time, but we don't all have the same amount of energy. So knowing ourselves and our cycles, when our natural rhythm, what energizes us, what depletes us, and managing our energy will give us a far better outcome than just trying to rigidly manage our time. Actually, I always find rigidly managing my time sets myself up for failure and can impact on my self-esteem. Whereas if I manage my energy, I get far more done than I ever anticipated. And it means I'm being a little kinder to myself too. And the final E is experimentation. That actually we set up these strong expectations and expect an outcome. But if we were a bit more playful and a bit more curious, rather than feeling that things are right or wrong and judging that and feeling despairing when something doesn't work out the way we want it to, how can we experiment and play? How can we be more curious about it? What are the small things that we can do differently? Not because we expect it will be a different result, but we're curious about the result that we will get. So experimentation can help us too. So in these difficult times, take a big deep breath, stay grounded in your body, and remind yourself of the oak and the oak tree. The O for ownership, the A for acceptance, the K for kindness, the T for truth, R for respect, E for energy, and E for expectation. Experimentation. Try and leave the expectations. Have a plan and hold it lightly. If you're struggling, just needing someone to talk to, then do please reach out without any kind of obligation. Just drop me a message. And I hope to be live a little bit more often in 2021. Whatever. It's a plan. I'm holding it lightly. Go well for the rest of the day.